Go. Hey everyone.
What's up?
Hello.
What's up? 43 homes in the house. We're at 43 homes today, so legit, we're in the house. Today's topic is mistakes that home buyers can make when they are in the beginning stages of purchasing a home. So feel free to, again, ask questions anytime. You know we love that. We don't have a drawing this week, unfortunately, unless we do.
We don't.
No, we don't.
We don't, but next week maybe. So, yeah, anyway, just post questions as you think of them, because I'm sure there's no way anyone could ever make a mistake at all when trying to buy a home.
Oh, no.
Oh,
No, right?
No.
they can.
Not using anyone from 43 homes. Mistake number
That
one.
was
Yeah.
numero uno.
So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, as far as
Hey, Steven.
mistakes. We gotta get used to that. That's kind of distracting. So anyway, back on topic. What do you guys think? As far as, I mean, we have some stuff written here that we, are good talking points, but off the top of your heads, you think there's, I mean, what would you think is the first or mistake someone can make when they are thinking about purchasing a home or they're in the process of buying a home?
So I think first, don't get emotionally attached, right? I mean,
Right.
So first, this is going to be your biggest financial investment that maybe you'll ever make. So, it's great to love a house and to want to buy a house, but getting attached too soon can cause you to do things that you're going to end up regretting later, I think. So
Absolutely.
And I think too, in the market that we've been having, the seller's market we've been having, you absolutely can't get attached because there's just not enough homes for sale for all the buyers there are. So oftentimes, and even this morning, well, when that happens, no, you're fine. So when that happens, you're going to have multiple offers. I just had it happen this morning with a client who wrote an offer sight unseen, and it's been on the market a day. We're in multiple offers already.
Yeah.
So, we'll find out Friday.
you got a 1 in 6 chance.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not to scare you. See.
No. There it is. I've never done it.
Steven said he just waved back like a dork.
We see you.
Well, that was sweet.
Come on. Wait, I want to pull up mine so I can see what people are reading because it's too far away.
Here, pull up on Facebook. That's what that noise was.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
So
you continue on without
all right,
me.
you find
I'm
on
getting
Facebook
ready
and
here.
we're going to continue.
Yes,
So I think,
continue on.
Getting emotionally attached, the financial element of it, obviously you need to have a realtor going into this process, and a realtor is going to help keep you grounded,
Right.
as opposed to getting too financially attached when, you're not going to offer the sun, the sky, and the moon in your offer, and your realtor is going to help, bring you back to reality on that.
Right.
Because there is a such thing as paying too much. I mean, you pay too much, you can't go back and you can't do it again. So,
Right.
So having a good realtor that's going to help you with that, I think is very important. So.
Well, and I think this summer, I heard of a lot of situations where people were willing to pay over asking price because they got way too emotionally attached, or over appraised value because they were just so emotionally attached to the house.
That's right.
Right.
Don't bring $20,000 extra to the closing table because you just love this house so much. There are way too many houses out there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think so too. So sometimes, with that being said, I don't know. This isn't even on that topic, but sometimes buyers will go directly to the listing agent. Sometimes they will contact because they think we're not, well, I don't know, they may have representation, but they're going to contact the listing agent direct. I mean, what problems do you foresee with that?
Where would you begin?
Yeah.
So
may in theory seem like a good idea, but.
Right. So, first of all, the listing agent has a fiduciary responsibility to the seller and not to you. So, when you contact a listing agent directly, their only interest, their primary interest is their seller and making sure that they get the best deal and the best situation for their seller. So, I think going to that listing agent and that being your first point of contact you're already at a disadvantage because that agent, knows the house, knows the market, knows the seller, what they're willing to accept, what they're not. And then you come in, and then they really can't even give you advice. So they're not going to give you advice because they know too much. They know what the seller will and will not take. So it's a bad idea all around.
Yeah,
I guess is what I'm getting.
There's no advantage to be given to the buyer to contact. You're not going to be saving anything on your side.
No. And I think that's what people think why they do it. Yes. If I just go to the listing agent, I'll save the buyer's commission. Well, guess what? That listing agent has a contract with the seller. And whatever the percentage is usually split between the buyer and the seller's agent. So if you go directly to the seller's agent, they write an offer for you, your offer is accepted, you close on the house, you're not getting a better deal. The seller's agent's just pocketing the whole percentage instead of what would have been paid to someone who's looking out for your best interest. And unless you do this every day, I'm really not sure how you navigate this on your own.
And you're inevitably going to say something that's going to provide an advantage for the seller.
Right.
So it's like,
that's a good point.
Oh, this house is great. And you know what? I've been pre-approved for exactly this amount. Well, then if you turn around and write an offer for less than that, they're going to go back and tell their client, no, that they can afford the whole thing. So let's go. It's like everything you say can and will be used against you in the transaction.
You're getting into that dual agency, which is, a term you probably hear a lot that just sometimes maybe doesn't make sense. But it is when the agent is representing both seller and buyer. And like we've been saying, it's kind of a sticky area because you really can't, as that agent, give fair representation to either side. Your responsibility really technically is with the seller first and foremost. So,
and in this instance, it's not even necessarily dual agent. I mean,
it doesn't have to be. Yeah,
they're the seller's agent. They have no obligation to you other than to be truthful and fair.
Right, because they don't have to choose to represent you either. You can represent yourself in that transaction, but again, you're not going to be saving anything. You're not. I don't know, and it's not just being an agent, but I would want someone representing my best interests and quite frankly being the mediator. For me.
And it goes to that point. I mean, it goes back to not getting emotionally attached. This is an emotional process. No matter how much you want to believe that it is or it isn't, it really, really is. And, if you don't have that intermediary to be the one that's going to help remove that emotion, if you're talking to the seller's agent and you're emotional about it, there's really nothing good that can come from it. So, so anyways. So let's say then, let's say you've already gone to the listing agent.
Okay.
Maybe you've been out looking, so you went to the listing agent. What can you do now? So I didn't sign anything though. So am I obligated to that person?
As far as the agent, are you obligated?
If I didn't sign anything with that listing agent, and I want to buy that house, am I obligated to that?
No, you could find an agent. Yeah, as long as you haven't signed any buyer agency forms with that agent, you can certainly find representation at that point and have them take care of that.
And I've had calls from people before, with this exact question, right? Where they went to the listing agent, they don't feel like it's, they get the sense, right? And let's be upfront in that any agent in any transaction should be disclosing to you who's representing whom.
Right.
And so that's step number one. When you write an offer, that's rule number one for us as agents. So, if they haven't provided that to you, then they've broken the law. Which, not to say that someone would or wouldn't do that, but be weary of who's representing whom, and there should be a disclosure of who in that circumstance is.
Yeah, we have to talk about that.
Yeah, if you went to the agent and they showed you the house, unless you've signed some sort of agreement with them that they're going to represent you in that transaction, you're not obligated to that person, I think is the point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So sometimes too, as agents, people, I feel like, obviously as agents, we find value in what we do. And we will talk all day long about the value of having a real estate agent. But we do have these sites now, Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com, where houses are at
Your fingertips.
potential buyer's fingertips. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can find. So, do you think there's any problem? I mean, I would say that another mistake they can make is trying to find that house on your own. I mean, I think that we have access really to accurate information. And once you tell us what your wants, needs, likes are, we do what we can to find that for you. So do you guys see pitfalls with that?
Well, I think first, the information is not updated in those sites in real time.
Oh,
I mean, there can
absolutely.
be delays of hours, a day or more.
Right.
The other problem is it doesn't give you the full picture of the house. You don't know everything that's happened before.
Right.
You don't get the same history and the same information that we have.
Right.
And the status isn't always going to be correct. I can't tell you the number of times I get a buyer who says, I found the most perfect house, and that house is in contract, and it's been in contract for 3 weeks.
Right.
But the status doesn't change on Trulia or Zillow or whatever
website. And we say all the
you're
time,
using.
if it's not in your MLS search, it's not available. I mean, depending on how you set the search. I always do it just for active. I'm sure, because who wants to see something in contract? Which isn't necessarily, I mean, sometimes contracts fall apart, so you do, there are reasons to be wary of that. But yeah, I think that, pretty much everyone nowadays, I mean, they'll even contact you through those sites for information. But yeah, you're 100% on the money with that.
Right.
Speaking of money, any problems with money?
Lots.
Yeah, so I'm thinking in terms of not being knowledgeable in what you need for down payment, closing costs. What do you think about that? I mean, not saving enough money might be an issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, obviously you're going to need some sort of down payment. I mean, there are programs out there that will allow you to bring, as little as $500 in your down payment to closing.
Right.
But a lot of people don't understand that in addition to down payment, there's closing costs, there's which includes your title fees, lender fees, and any other fees that, recording fees, government fees.
Your inspection.
Inspections, thank you.
Oh yeah, inspection. Appraisal costs money.
Yeah,
so
and a lot of these are collected up front.
Right,
so,
right.
If you don't have the money up front for these things, then your agent should talk to you about these things before you start making an offer. What you should expect. But realistically, I think an appraisal probably you're going to pay around $300. Between $300 and $400, I think. Your inspection, what do you say?
About that too.
Yeah,
could be
about the same.
350, 300 on the low end side. It can always go up.
Right.
And then depending on what you're inspecting for, if you're going to do radon, that's an extra charge. If you're doing wood destroying insects, that's going to be another charge. So there are upfront costs that I think a lot of buyers just aren't aware of with that.
I wouldn't cut corners on an inspection to save money.
Right, no.
It's worth it to spend the money because if you have termites, you want to find out.
Right, this
is your chance.
Exactly.
This is your chance. You don't do it now, you're not going to get back to it. So, or you're not going to get a do-over, as they say. So, in that instance, you're just stuck with it.
Yeah.
After you've closed, I've had people I represented in the course of the buying transaction, and this is an unrelated mistake I think people buy is that we send people paperwork, and it is pages and pages of paperwork. But they say to me, I trust you, so I just signed it. Wait, so when the rubber meets the road, and if there's something comes down the road, you need to read it and understand what you're getting into, and then you need to not blame me later.
Right. Probably will happen anyway.
But in any case, there are things that come up in the course of this. And, of course, there are things that happen, but 9 times out of 10, had you just read the contract and understood what you were getting into, this never would have happened.
And we get it. It's not interesting reading. I mean, it's it's legalese, it's boilerplate kind of stuff, and it's just not. But there's so much in there that you do need to be aware of it.
And if you have a question, call us.
Call, happy to call. Happy
That's
to
our job.
Yeah, please utilize us.
And utilize us before you get to that point.
Right.
I've had somebody who, their children were running around. We're sitting at the dining room table signing paperwork, and I'm trying to go over everything, and she rushed through it because the kids were running around and she was distracted. Well, then after it was over, she sat down and she started reading it, and what about? Well, I didn't mean that. Well, take your time, I think, is to the point.
There's time,
and then ask the questions of your agent, up front. What am I going to have to pay? How much money am I going to need? Your agent and your realtor are going to be the two people you need to be closest to.
But I would also say you need to be in close contact with your loan officer.
So this comment was posted right at the beginning of our conversation when we said, what mistakes could possibly happen? Nothing.
Right.
And Dawnette said, buying a $90,000 Dodge Cummins 3 days before closing. So, talking to your lender, And on the point of not having enough money, spending money too while you're in the transaction can be
especially
not
taking
good.
on debt.
Taking
on debt is it's a major
and sometimes
problem.
Paying off debt once that's happened.
That can screw you up too, right?
And closing a credit card.
Don't do anything without talking to your loan officer.
Right. Keep in close contact with the loan officer.
Make no assumptions, I think,
no.
because you know what happens when you assume. So
Yes.
don't do that.
You want to say it?
No.
No.
Spell it out, you'll see.
Spell it out. Hey, Chris.
So I bought my house. Surely there's going to be no rules for me, right? So
No.
it's my house. I can do what I want.
You can do whatever you want. Whatever, however, especially in subdivisions. They're really fans of you just doing whatever you want, however, whenever.
Oh yeah, like putting up giant statues with floodlights.
Sheds, fences.
So maybe you want to get a copy of the Homeowners Association rules and regs. Those can be provided to you by the Homeowners Association. They are also required to be filed with the county recorder's office. So so if for some reason
we'll be here.
So if for some reason you're having trouble getting them from the Homeowners Association, you or your agent, frankly, can go to the county recorder's office and download those from the website.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
You would know about that one.
I would know about that. Might have spent a little bit of time working with those records.
Might know a little bit about those records. So that's another thing to be aware of. You may find the house, you absolutely love the house, you write the offer on the house, find out if there are any rules and regulations regarding that house. Is there a subdivision, is there a homeowners association involved? Condos will have condo associations, and there's going to be a lot of rules there. So, there are rules that apply to homeowners when they buy a house sometimes. Sometimes there's not, but oftentimes there's going to be.
Right, but look it up.
Look it up. It's easy to find. It's usually at our fingertips, or at least accessible somewhere.
Right.
So, so I don't know what else. Now we're in the process of buying the home.
Yeah.
We're not spending any money.
No.
But what do you suppose we may need to look for? I mean, I think sometimes there might be surprises at the closing table. Like, you're supposed to get homeowners insurance in that process. I think that's stuff that the loan officer would talk about. But I mean, have you ever come across that?
Because usually for the mortgage, anytime I've been involved, it's like they make sure that you have homeowners insurance, but make sure that you've given that policy number to your loan officer because they might have forgotten to ask for it. And then when you get to the closing table, they'll be like, well, no, we're not going to fund because we don't have the homeowners insurance policy, and now you're sitting there waiting, trying to get a hold of your insurance company. But you also want to make sure that you get that home warranty information too at the closing table.
Right. Home warranties, because that's often when I'm on the buy side, I will ask for a home warranty if it's not already in place with the sellers. But you definitely want that information, because what that is once you are in the home and something breaks, you will have a home warranty to cover it. So depending on the home warranty, if it's going to be covered, but it could be plumbing, HVAC, electrical, all sorts of
washer,
stuff.
dryer.
So,
I will say today.
Yeah.
I purchased my own home just this last
you did.
October. So like 3 months ago, I did this. So I got to see all sides. So I actually filed my first homeowners or home warranty claim myself. And I never really knew what happened on your side when you do this. So today they came out. My garbage disposal flipped the switch. Well, let's be honest. Sean put a a pork roast down it. Don't do that. And so it stopped working. It just went done. And so today the guy came. I called the home warranty company. The guy showed up, and within 45 minutes, I had a brand new garbage disposal.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
He really broke it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pork roasted damage.
But I will say it was under normal wear and tear, as they say.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Well, that's good then. It was covered.
When we bought our house, our home inspector, because I went with the cheap one, and that was something I will never do again, didn't catch that our electric panel was rusted behind our circuit breakers, and we lost electric in the kitchen and found out our whole house could have burned down. But it was covered by our home warranty.
Really?
I just had to pay a small deductible because the home warranty that we got had a deductible, and they replaced the circuit breaker box and rewired the kitchen for us.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Because that could have been
Bad.
costly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's just something to keep in mind as you're working with your realtor. Ask your realtor about the home warranty.
Right.
Do I have one? Is this written in? What kind of warranty am I getting? What company's providing it? And let your realtor explain those things to you, because it will make a difference in the end.
Yeah, for
when
sure.
something comes up, especially when something big like a furnace or a air conditioner
Yeah.
comes out.
Yeah.
And always in the coldest or
Yep.
hottest day of the summer, so.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone this morning that said they just purchased in April and their HVAC, the furnace has gone up 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
So, since then. So
So you've made these mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
or not. You listen to us and you don't. So take note.
note.
So before I get started and I'm out looking around at houses, I've got this pie in the sky. I really want it all, so I'm looking at $500,000 houses
Yeah.
because I want it.
I want that too.
Yeah.
But what's wrong with that? Like, what did I do wrong?
I'm
It's
thinking-
my loan guy told me I can't do that.
That's probably your
Yeah.
mistake. Right then and there, not listening. Yeah, and really probably a mistake too in that is if you don't go to a lender first.
Mm-hmm.
That I know we covered that topic a couple of weeks ago with our first one, the buying process, but it's so important to talk to the lender. Be aware of your credit scores, because lending now is a different animal than it used to be several years ago. And
Several years ago was, okay, yeah, you got a pulse.
You get a loan.
You want a zero-down mortgage on a $1 million house? Awesome.
Yeah. So, it's much different now. And debt-to-income ratio, credit scores, they are huge factors in if you're going to get a loan. So you can't just, there's a balance. Definitely be looking, be wary, but before you start deciding what your price point is, you really need to talk to a lender about what you can afford, what you can't afford. Are you qualified? Can you qualify?
Right.
And then, maybe $500,000 isn't it. It may be $150,000, $200,000 home. And I guarantee if you start out with the $500,000 homes, you're not going to be really happy with the $200,000.
Yeah.
Right.
It's best to go up.
Well, it's like, have you ever watched that show with the Property Brothers or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
They're just gonna make you a home that you want. It's so unrealistic, but I don't understand. Whatever. But it's like,
The rules are different in Canada.
yeah, I guess.
Why is
It
that?
must be.
Yeah.
So, but it's I have to know what you are shopping for, and can actually purchase. I think before you start.
I'll tell a buyer, I will show you 2 or 3 houses before you get your pre-approval letter.
Right.
But you need to have already talked to a mortgage person.
Right.
I understand that there's a process and there's paperwork, but let's look at just a couple, because we really need to get those expectations where they should be.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's a very good point, and I think that helps us as agents really understand you, and it gives us a chance to get to know you, and you get to know us, and
Right.
it's okay to do that in the early stages in the beginning, I think. So.
Well, and two, the market is much different at least what I've experienced with my buyers. It was the 225 and below that was really that competitive seller's market. I mean, that was affordable housing. If you can do 300 or more, there are homes available. So, it may be a surprise to you thinking that you can do one price point and then you get into a different one. It's just a completely different kind of market.
Yep.
So one more thing, I think that we've kind of jumped around a bit, but sometimes the conversation starts to lead to other things. Inspections are not required. So, we have toured the homes, we were in contract, inspections aren't required. Are you going to have one and save that $350 or whatever it might be, 400, 500, 600? Are you going to forego that? What could possibly be wrong with maybe wanting to save some money?
Well, that's just not the place I think to save it.
Even if the house is being sold as is, I still always recommend an inspection.
Oh yeah,
because you do not know what you don't know.
And give yourself an out in an as-is contract. Make sure your agent's writing in something that even though you're agreeing to buy as-is and that inspection's for your own information, that you've got an out in that contract, because 8 times or 9 times out of 10 you're not going to run into a problem, right? It's going to be fine. Every problem's fixable. Every house, regardless of its age, whether it's 2 years old or 200 years old, there's always the laundry list. Every inspection report I've seen, they're all 30 pages. I had a client once say, "Well, I've got a report here that tells me there's 30 pages worth of problems." No, that's not exactly the truth. It's a 30-page report telling you about your home. So they're not all problems, but that report is invaluable. I just don't see why you would ever forego.
Would you pass up an inspection on a new build?
No.
Just because it's new.
Have you ever watched contractors build?
Yes, I've been on those sites. I used to do that work.
Do remodeling work? Do you trust all contractors? Have you not seen AB6 on your side? And I think as a young, naive person, I always believed that people were always doing their best. But let me tell you, I've had some new build experiences where, one in particular, and if I don't see the person on here watching that was with, but she is on my friends list.
She might be on mine.
Is
she on yours?
I wish she was, and she could chime in and tell you, for instance, one of the things that it was one of those fiberglass shower enclosures. And so the builders had they literally throw these things off a truck, and so they put it in her shower, and there's holes in it, and so we went to one of the pre-inspections before she closed on the house, and they said, "Well, don't worry, we'll fix that." And they said it'll be like new. And she said, "I'm not buying like new." She's like, "I'm buying new, and so why would I accept that?" And so, to her point, and the agent just kept saying, "Well, we bring in these fiberglass contractors, and they're the same people that work on boats, and if they can work on a boat, they can work on your shower." I said, "You know what?" I said, "If you go into Home Depot and you open a box and the shower enclosure you buy at Home Depot is broken, is Home Depot going to offer to fix that for you, or are they going to replace it?" And she's like, "Well, they're going to replace it." I said, "So why would we anticipate buying a new house? Would we expect that you're just going to patch it and that's good enough?" So, and that's another thing. And this is, again, off the topic a little bit, but having an agent in the new build process.
Yes.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I would,
I'll let you go from there.
The point is, representation is so important, and in the new build process, you can definitely take advantage of an agent. You're not paying for it, so it's not costing you any more. And you're not getting a discount
on the house by not using one.
Right, not getting a discount on the house, exactly. And we're there to walk you through that as well. There's stuff that we see on a daily basis. We can help you with the options that might be available to you, because I don't know that everyone's aware. Oftentimes they're not, I find, but that price they show on the model home is not the price that you're going to end up paying. I mean,
anywhere close.
And it's not even the price for the options in that model.
Exactly. Well, yeah, because they deck those models out. So, yeah, I mean, those upgrades, and we can help guide you through that process as well. So definitely, if you're at the beginning stages and you're thinking about a new build, definitely let's have that conversation and discuss that and talk about, is there advantage for you to have an agent?
Well, and in that circumstance, it's not uncommon to go into the new build and the new build says the price is $200,000, and the next thing you know, you sit down, you go through your options list, and you're up to $300,000.
Right.
So I think an important role for the agent in a new build that people completely overlook is which one of these options is going to be a good investment for me.
Right.
And if I put in the granite countertops, or if I do the floor to ceiling, stone on the fireplace, which one of these, when I go to sell this house, because ultimately, unless this is truly going to be a forever home, and a lot of people say that, and I find it rarely to be the case.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometime you're going to have to sell it, and that $10,000 bump out on your dining room that gives you an extra 20 square feet, is that a wise investment or not? And your agent's going to be the one that knows those things.
And let's get that price list and have that conversation away from the builder's rep.
Yeah.
Let's go back to your house and think about it, because if you're having that conversation right there, that's their agent. And you're spilling the beans. You might as well be telling them everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've had both sides of that spectrum. I've had builder reps that are
amazing.
that are saying things that their builder would maybe cringe at.
Right. Or
they're the ones that are trying to sell every last option. Because let's be honest, I mean, they're also getting compensated on a percentage basis.
Yeah.
So,
it's sales.
So
I don't know. I mean, if there's questions, feed them in now. If you have any, I think we've covered a lot of topics and kind of jumped around a little bit. I don't know, should we do an overview of the stuff we covered just to wrap it all up?
Let's do it.
Kind of done. It was a quicker one today.
It was.
Lucky. You all are lucky.
So the first two, because I can read them here.
You can read them, yeah. I can see those.
Do not get too emotionally attached, and do not find the home yourself.
Yeah.
Trust us to help you with both of those items.
We can help you, for sure. Absolutely.
I guess I'll take the next one.
Me too.
I'm in the middle. So don't go directly to the listing agent.
It's not saving you anything, not helping
Not
you
saving
at all.
you any money, and you don't have anybody looking out for you. And don't assume as a homeowner that you don't have any rules to follow. And those are things to talk with your agent about before you buy the house. Okay.
Yeah, so now we're getting more into the lending. Not saving enough money. I mean, there are going to be a lot of out-of-pocket costs that factor in, a lot of other costs that are probably expected, down payment, closing costs. Sometimes there's misunderstanding. Those are two separate things. And, there's dependent on the lender, dependent on the loan that you're going to get, that can vary greatly too with the down payment and the closing costs, quite frankly. And then not getting pre-approved for that loan. You don't know where you are. You don't know if you can get lending. Oh, let's just go shopping. I fall in love with the house. I want it, and I can't get a loan.
That's a sad day.
That is a sad day. It really was.
I mean, there's nothing worse, right, than getting all geeked up for the show, and then you don't have a ticket. So
so I don't know. That would be good. I think we skipped that one. Private mortgage insurance.
We'll have another talk.
We'll have another, with different loan types. We're going to bring in a lender one of these days too, and discuss different loans, programs they have, and questions with that. I know that's always. I mean, I find typically with clients, the questions really tend to be on the financing side, which we can answer some and help, but it's really. I mean, there's experts out there, and they're called loan officers, and
they're going to have more information than we do, and know more about it than we do.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're more numbers people. I mean,
they can crunch it for you.
I'm in real estate. I have a basic understanding of math, but I can help you decide, what's a good investment from a
Right. Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
level, but the finance person's the one that's going to be the one. That's
Yeah,
gonna,
with the interest and how much your payment is and so forth. So, then there's some surprises sometimes at the closing table, or not, but homeowners insurance is a thing. Sometimes you run into surprises with that. And I found there's areas, and there's not a lot of water in central Ohio, but there's some rivers and creeks, and sometimes there's areas with flood insurance. So flood insurance can be...
wreck a deal.
It can, yeah. So typically the seller should be aware and have it disclosed in your residential property disclosure if there is flood insurance involved. It should be something that is available for you to know. But I have had clients who've had that surprise at the closing table too. Where
$100,000. We had one $100,000 listing, and the flood insurance is going to be $500 to $600 per month.
Oh my goodness!
it's very
Just as
costly.
much as your mortgage.
It's not a good surprise.
So
Yeah.
knowing from the beginning, if you're looking in a flood-prone area,
Yes. Yeah.
is a very important thing, and whether or not your lender's going to require that
Yeah.
insurance, because
Yeah.
it can be detrimental.
And it can be surprising where it sneaks in.
Yeah.
There's areas here anyway that you wouldn't.
Yeah, I
expect.
mean, there are areas. I mean, it's all public record,
Yeah.
but there's areas where it's listed as a floodplain, and it's really not. And there are ways to combat that too.
Yeah.
So.
But on those same lines, there are also areas that are protected where it may not be a homeowners association, but it's a protected area. So you can't, for example, put a garden in or a fence or stop that natural water flow. The big Darby always comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my area. My neck of the woods. There. So street. So, and then I think, just to wrap it up, not getting a home inspection can be a big issue too. Again, it's not required, and you can absolutely choose to do whatever you want when you're the buyer, but I highly, highly recommend having that done.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a buyer refuse it, and largely in my own, encouragement sometimes.
Right.
Like you said, I just can't stress it enough.
Right.
You're making this investment. It's like, I don't know, buying a stock blindly and not knowing who the company is. I mean, I just can't imagine ever putting my money. Due diligence.
Topic next week, stocks.
Yeah, homes are caveat emptor, which means buyer beware.
Buyer beware. Oftentimes
And,
they are, yeah.
And there are instances where people don't disclose things that they should have disclosed, and that's a problem. And there are remedies, for that if you can collect them.
And you could prove that they knew it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So there's not without obstacle there for sure. So.
Well, thank you guys all for watching.
Thank you.
Again, waving at you, Steve, if you're still on. Like we
Yes,
know
we
ya.
can't see you waving, but
Send us a picture of you waving.
yes. But we enjoyed that you all tuned in.
Yeah, thank you. And next week will be, another topic. 3 o'clock seems to be a good time. It seems to be. We've gotten good feedback about it. If you have any topics that you'd like to discuss, feel free to let us know, because there is a plethora of things to talk about when it comes to real estate. I think.
Absolutely.
And if you have questions that come up,
during, post it when you're watching.
during, after,
Yeah.
send us a private message if you'd like, or post it in the comments, and we'll answer as you would like. So.
Right. So,
Thanks again.
peace out.
Hi guys.